Is the criminal empire telegraphing what they're about to do to Trump? Now, we know the criminal empire, the deep state, the central banking system, all of them put together, they've been trying to convince the public from the very beginning that Trump could never be president. They started out saying there was no one attending his rallies, his poll numbers are down, and Clinton was always in the lead. And they were doing this over time, trying to convince the public, using the corporate media. And this is the deep state's basically mouthpiece. It's the corporate media. They're the ones who are out there spewing everything from the deep state, the criminal empire, the intelligence organizations. And once Trump got elected, they started down the path of trying to remove him. And they said, well, there was Russian hacking, there was Russian collusion, and they said, well, the elections, maybe they're not what they seem. And they started a whole campaign where they tried to discredit the elections, and they tried to do a do-over, which didn't work. Once he was inaugurated, they started down the path of Russian collusion. And they kept on digging. They brought out the dossier and a lot of fake news. And it all turned out to be propaganda. There's no proof whatsoever anywhere. The FBI, CIA, NSA, all the intelligence agencies, they can't find anything. Actually, FBI was basically speaking to the Senate Intelligence Panel, and his testimony pretty much says we've had nothing. He was never under investigation. There was no obstruction of justice with Flynn. And basically, they're backed up into a corner right now. There's nowhere for them to go. And we know eventually what is going to happen is they're going to exhaust all the legal means that they have, and they're going to resort to something horrific. And this brings us to Shakespeare in the Park. This is something where New York City, they have this play that they put on. It's at the Public Theater. And different corporations sponsor it. Delta Airlines, Bank of America, New York Times, they sponsor this. This time, it looks like they took this in a different direction. And they depicted a violent assassination scene, and the individual looked like Trump. And we can see that this is very interesting. Now, Trump did tweet out, and he said, I wonder how much of this art is funded by taxpayers. Serious question. When does art become political speech, and does that change things? And he's right, because what they're doing is they're actually sending a message. And I think what they were using this for was a gauge. Are people okay with this? Is this something that you're happy with? Because we can see there was a tweet from CNN, and this is from Fareed Zakaria, where he says, if you're in New York City, go see Julius Caesar. Free in Central Park, brilliantly interpreted for Trump error. And he was trying to convince people on CNN to go to see this, to say, yes, take a look at this, and yes, this is something that we want to do. And we see right now, Bank of America, Delta Airlines, they backed out of this because they said, you know something, this has crossed the line. You're talking about assassination. You're showing people that we can assassinate, and it's okay to assassinate a president. Very interestingly, the New York Times did not back out of this at all. And the Caesar character resembled Trump with blonde hair, long red tie. The actress playing his wife, well, she had a Slavic accent, and that was meant to resemble Melania, Trump's wife. And the big question is, why did they decide to put this out there? Why did they depict this? Because it looks like they're trying to use this as some type of gauge on how the American public would take this if he was assassinated. And we can see that they're running out of options. They've tried many different things, and they're going to continue to try different alternatives to try to remove him legally. And they tried, the mental, he's unstable, he's mentally disturbed, maybe he has Alzheimer's. They're trying everything they possibly can think of. But their last attempt will have to be an assassination, because there's nowhere else for them to go right now because they're running out of options. They can't continually use Russia. Russia's falling by the wayside. We know that Trump has told Tillerson, listen, repair the relationship with Russia. And we know that Trump has been speaking to Putin. He spoke to Lavrov, Kislyak, and we can see right now that Trump doesn't have a problem with Russia. And this doesn't work with the criminal empire, the deep state, because they were using Russia as the bad guy. And we can see that this will not work anymore. So what other alternative do they have left? Not much. And if they become so desperate and they realize there's no way out of this, and Trump is delving into the deep state within government, and he's removing the deep state department by department, seeking, exposing, and eradicating those individuals that are leaking, that are not working with the U.S. people, working with his administration, he's going to get rid of them. And if the deep state sees that more and more of their people are being removed, well, they will lose control over time. And they don't want this to happen. So there will be a breaking point where they will make the decision to go ahead with this operation. They did it with JFK. There was a certain period of time. Of course, he was pushing out the silver certificate, and the central bank didn't like this. And there were many other agendas that were going on. And it reached a certain point where they said, okay, we cannot go any further than this. We need to take him out. We're approaching the same exact scenario. And once the deep state, the criminal empire, is pushed to their breaking point, where they say, okay, we can't do this anymore, they will proceed with their operation. Now, you can hear more of all of this in the full report, which is on the X22 Report YouTube channel. And those reports are Monday through Friday, one on Sunday, and they're between 6 and 7 Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to listen to incredible interviews, you can go to the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel, where you can hear interviews with Cliff High, you can hear interviews with David Morgan, you can hear interviews with Michael Snyder, you can hear interviews with David Stockman, Jim Rickards. So head on over to the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel, and you can hear all the interviews there.